Hi, it's Jeff Wade here with StockIdeas.org, and today I just want to do a book review of The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. I'm smiling because I've wanted to do a review of this book for a long time, and I wasn't able to get around to it because I borrowed or lent my copy to a friend here. This is the Real Stock Market Bible, first published in 1949, and this is the 2006 edition that has some added commentary by Jason Zweig, who is a Wall Street Journal reporter. So it's really great because it's the classic text, but it has some footnotes and some explanatory notes that keep the concepts really modern. So what's so great about The Intelligent Investor? First of all, if you didn't know, The Intelligent Investor is Warren Buffett's favorite book. He said it's the book that taught him the most about investing ever, that it really was the one that gave the conceptual framework for his investment and capital allocation decision making. So that should definitely tell you something. This book carries weight. And that's not just because it's 600 pages, although it is. Actually, the real text is about 580, and there's some notes in the back. I read this book cover to cover. I've actually read it twice, and I'm probably going to read it again because it's just so great. So the Intelligent Investor, is basically just the definitive book on value investing. And value investing is about finding stocks, and they talk about bonds and other type preferred shares, as well as common stock. And all are described in this book. But it's basically types of security, equity, and debt. And value investing is finding these instruments and looking for situations where there's value. So where the market price and the value of the security are out of sync. Ben Graham introduces the concept of margin of safety in this book. So he suggests looking for investments that, the net asset value of the investment might be $100, but the stock price is only $70. So you have a $30 margin of safety. And that's one of the key concepts in this book, and one of the key concepts to intelligent value investing. The other, this book is really, it's hard for me to summarize it up in a 5-minute video here. I really suggest that you check it out if you have a serious interest in learning about capital allocation and the stock market, because there are just so many great concepts. There's a strong case for index investing and just like, passive buy and hold and continuing to buy stocks each month, to kind of average in and build equity through your lifetime so that you can achieve wealth. The book also talks a lot about your internal composure as an investor. So, they say that per value investing, the methodology is not that complicated. It's pretty straightforward, but a lot of people make mistakes because they get emotional and they get scared, or they get shaken out of their positions and end up selling for a loss. Whereas if they just stuck to their value hypothesis and didn't worry about the day-to-day market fluctuations, they probably would have made a profit. Another interesting concept that Ben Graham introduces in this book is the idea of Mr. Market. So, he says that imagine, the stock market and the market prices are this eccentric guy named Mr. Market, and he comes to you every day, every minute actually, and says, I'll pay you this for your investment. I'll pay you this for your investment. I'll pay you this for your investment. And some days Mr. Market is, really eccentric and willing to overpay for your investments. And some days he's willing to, undercut you. He says, your investment's only worth this. Your investment's only worth that. I'll only buy it for 10 cents on the dollar. So, Mr. Market is the analogy of the stock market. You imagine the ticker price as, your eccentric business partner who's trying to always buy out your stake in your investment. And from day to day, his prices vary. And Ben Graham recommends that you use Mr. Market as your servant and not your guide. So you only listen to Mr. Market when he's giving you favorable quotes, and at that point, maybe you'll sell your investments because they're fairly valued. But you have to be prepared for Mr. Market to give you, crazy valuation sometimes, and you have to be okay with ignoring him. So that's kind of one of the other fundamental concepts is this book really drives home is that your stock investments, if you think of them as investments in a private company, because there is a strong value case, you see value, you see future appreciation in the stocks that you buy, so you don't worry too much about the day-to-day prices. If you owned a private business, if you owned a gas station, would you care about the minor fluctuations in price, that your business might be worth, or would you focus on having a profitable business and growing the business and buying more assets and that kind of thing? So it's really a lot of the book, although there is a huge amount of security analysis in here, a lot of it is also about kind of common sense, about your emotional composure, and how you can act, and how you can maybe try to ignore your instincts to buy and sell and have knee-jerk reactions to price swings, and just maintain your composure and have faith in your value calculations and your hypotheses. So that has been really helpful for me as an investor. It kind of reassures you that the market is not the be-all and end-all. Of course, price pays, but there are inefficiencies in the market. There are times when stocks sell off more than they should, and that presents opportunities to buy value at a discount to the net asset of the company. And that's sort of the main focus. The first about half of the book has a lot of general information on investing, and then also quite a bit to do with like debt and bonds versus stocks. When this book was written in 1949, a lot of people owned bonds, and so there's some chapters dedicated to how inflation and bonds work out and why stocks are a good bet for the long term. And then from there, the book talks a lot more about how to analyze companies, how to read financial statements, how to really look at the balance sheets and the cash flow statements and figure out if a company is trading at a discount to what the business is actually worth. And so that's the real take-home beauty of it. Obviously, there's a lot to take in here, so it is kind of a Bible that you should reference often, go back to. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I took a ton of notes, page references that were particularly interesting to me. One of the other great parts is the appendix includes The Super Investors of Graham Doddsville by Warren Buffett, which is a really interesting essay that he wrote to kind of, I guess, debunk the efficient market hypothesis. So I guess a lot of Graham's, here you go. So this is included, I don't know if you can see that, The Super Investors of Graham and Doddsville here, which is an essay by Warren Buffett that debunks efficient market hypothesis. So Graham has come under a lot of stress or pressure, let's say, in the 1980s as efficient market hypothesis gained steam in academic circles. And Warren Buffett puts in a really good rebuttal saying, you're crazy, value investing works, and here's why, and here's the historical proof to recommend that. So this book, is just really, I think, a time-tested classic. And for anyone looking to really, get their feet wet in terms of analyzing securities and understanding, beyond day trading and beyond swing trading, but really like long-term fundamental-based investing, this is, really the place to start. Highly recommend it. This is the edition that you'll probably find in your bookstore or on Amazon if you take a look. It has some updated commentary, and it might take you a little while to read. Admittedly, it is a big book, but really worth it. I really enjoyed it and cannot recommend it anymore. So I can't say enough about this book in this little quick video book review. So click below this video for a link to stockideas.org, where I have provided more context on what the book does really well, some of on what it leaves out or what not to expect from it, and that'll give you a much clearer and more holistic picture of what you can get out of The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Thanks very much for watching, and be sure to check out stockideas.org. Thank you.